I do love it when I just come up with random ideas for games in my head and I just go, gee, that would be so perfect. Like, it makes me wish I could go back in time and become a game developer for said games, like learn how to actually use the engine and whatnot, and just like suggest these ideas because it would genuinely make games better. Once again, we're going back to Metal Gear Solid 5. We're not talking about Starfield today, thank God, because, no thank you. But I talked about Metal Gear Solid 5 a couple times in regards to like what they could have done, like add some extra gameplay details to make it that much better and like get lost in the world. And I talked about like the FOB system a couple times, but fuck the FOB system. Let's talk about Mother Base itself. And to briefly sum up what I'm gonna talk about, just imagine turning Mother Base into a skill tree almost, and you choose what skills you want to use, and you level them up by ranking up that skill basically. Now, to go into more detail, I came up with this random idea whenever I thought about base in the no, I don't think it was base in development. I think it was like adding in a platform in regards to the medical bay because I was still pissed off about the fact that you have the animal conservation platform that, as far as we know, some other organization like keeps up the costs on and like keeps the animals fed, sure, whatever. But besides that, like there's plants growing there, and it's like what you have like 700 guards, you have 700 men, you have a platoon of helicopters. Like you can't just have like one helicopter with a few guys from like the medical team maybe go over there every few days and just like pick up the plants. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But it got me thinking, right? In regards to like the platforms with like the different functionalities, right? It got me thinking. Believe me, I was like talking to myself for like 10 minutes straight about how expansive this shit could be. I'm kind of giving you like the cliff notes, like bulletin points, so to speak, bullet points. But imagine, say, you look at base and development, right? And it has like the four basic functions. You have resource procurement, you know, like getting unrefined materials from the sea, and then you have refinement process, you know, refining those, you know, resources to like actual usable goods, and then you have base development, and finally you have you know building nukes. Okay, and it got me thinking. There are obviously certain players that don't utilize certain functions of the game. Like, let's just say, for example, no one like there's a few assholes that decide to build nukes, right? I built a couple nukes and they got stolen off me, whatever. But let's just say you don't want to spend the resources on building a nuke because A, it paints a target on your back, and B, it you know it's more harm than good, you know. Because, you know, when you build a nuke, okay, sure, no one can invade you unless they have heroism, like, you know, they're a hero. But that kind of just, like, paints a target on your back and makes people attack you even more than if you had no nuke to begin with. Because in, like, the past several months, I had not had, like, one single motherfucker raid me until I had a nuke, and I had, like, 3, 4, 5 people try and invade me at fucking once. So, obviously, there's no benefit at all having a nuke, more so when you're offline. You kind of just want to have a nuke just to be an asshole and offline. Like, make up like a canon element in your head of, okay, Snake decides to build a nuke so none of the PFs or the armies will fuck with him because, hey, you decide to fuck with me, I'm launching a nuke straight at your fucking doorstep. But let's just say you don't want to build a nuke. My proposal is, again, base development. You have those four platforms: procuring resources, refining them, developing platforms, and building a nuke. Let's just say you get rid of the platform associated with building nukes. And let's just say instead of doing that, you could say add in a strut that just focuses solely on refining the resources. And now let's just say, at base value, if like one strut doing nothing but refining materials, like say you have the maximum amount of unprocessed resources, you would get 2500, 2500, 2500, 1250, and 250 in regards of fuel, common, biological, minor, and precious resources, respectfully. But now you add in that extra strut that's doing nothing but refining additional resources. Now you double it. Now it's 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 2,500, and 500. You see where I'm getting at here? And you can just say, maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe I want to speed up the development of my platform as fast as I can. Like, say I have a surplus of resources and I'm not going to be building nukes. You could just say fuck it and have 4 struts of base and development doing absolutely nothing but building up struts, and maybe you're going to end up like developing, like, say, medical platforms or combat platforms, like any additional struts in like a quarter of the time, maybe. So instead of like 2 in-game hours, it's a half an hour. Instead of 15 minutes, less than 2 minutes or some bullshit like that. It would be a way for you to choose what your base does in regards of like what function it wants to do. And I was trying to think to myself, how would you be able to, like, say if you wanted to like take away the base development, how would you be able to keep that base process? But I guess an idea is that once you're done finalizing what you want to do, and you're done like building platforms and whatnot, I guess maybe you could like have the function of just like on site getting rid of it and just like using GMP to change it whenever you want. Like, say for 500,000 GMP, if you want to convert a nuke platform into a base and development platform, will cost 500,000. And if you want to convert a base and development platform to, say, a nuke platform, so you can develop more nukes at a time, 500,000, something like that. So I guess, it would be a way to like get rid of a function once you're done building up all the platforms from Mother Base, because then after that it's kind of like, well, you have all the slots unlocked, every department has 4 fucking struts, there's really no need for it. So now you can just get rid of base and development and just focus on solely resource refinement or procurement. And I have it like all thought out for like the majority of the platforms. So this is like, obviously, like, you're going to get rid of the FOB bullshit, because if there's no online function, it's like there's really no point to it. But let's just say we consolidate combat and security into one section. So now there's combat deployment, merc deployment, which is like the passive income over time, and you have security and blockades. I don't know. But let's just say, fuck the security. Let's just keep it combat deployment. Obviously, there's only 2 functions. There's merc deployment, and then there's combat deployment. We'll just say fuck it. It's 2 and 2. Why not? And kind of as a nerf, let's just say you can only send 1 combat deployment out at a time. Because let's just say like the first one you build is combat deployment, and the second one you build is merc deployment, which is, the passive income over time. And then the third one you built, it's combat deployment, and then boom, back to merc, and gives you the vanilla values. At S rank, it's 80,000 GMP every 15, 20 minutes, however the fuck much it is in the original game. And, 2 combat deployments. What if? Obviously, you're bankrolling money from selling armaments and doing missions and selling off your natural resources, right? Merc deployment is fucking stupid. You're obviously going to be making way more resources and cha-ching and heroism and all that shit from sending people out on combat deployments, especially, the ability to have the ability to like destroy the the resources enemies have to reduce the revenge system from escalating. So here's an idea. Let's just say you don't want to do merc deployments, you want to focus solely on combat deployments. You could just say fuck it, right? And just have 4 platforms completely associated with merc deployments. And now, as a result, you can send 4 groups at a time out to do combat deployments for you. And here's a little bit of a sweetener, maybe. Let's just say maybe, I don't know. If you only have 1 combat deployment out, let's just say it reduces how long it takes for them to do it by like 10%. And then once you get the fucking level 2 upgrade for it, it's back to vanilla values. Sure, you have base normal time and 2 deployments. Now, if you skyrocket up to 4 combat deployment platforms in total, you can send 4 people out, and let's just say you get a max of a 20% increase in terms of overall time reduction. Or maybe if you want to make it a little bit more balanced so, it's not completely fucked, maybe for every single one, it's like a 5% reduction. So if you have like level 1, it's 5%, level 2, 10, 3 struts, 15, and 4 struts altogether, 20. Who knows? But at the end of the day, it's going to be 4 combat deployments and a 20% reduction in how long it takes for you to do the missions. And dare I say, that sounds a hell of a lot more inviting than the amount of money you can get. But then again, on the flip side, if you're not sending people out, it would actually be a decent amount of money, because let's just say that timer shit also applies. If you have like 4 people doing the low risk, low reward stuff, maybe, instead of like say the base vanilla value of like 80,000 every 20 minutes, maybe however long it takes, if you have 4 platforms, maybe it now becomes 160,000 every 10 minutes. It doesn't sound like a lot, but let's just say you're doing a fucking mission. You'll get that 160,000 by the time you're done with a mission, depending on how long it takes you to do it. It can help cover the costs in terms of like how you spend your money, in terms of like having a beefed up helicopter or Snake with like a bunch of fucking items on him. But now we're going into the good stuff. This is where it would definitely suit for somebody like me. Let's take the support platform. Now, the support platform, if I recall correctly, influences, deploying items to you. Bombardments, weather control, and I believe how good you are at faulting enemies out. Don't quote me on that. That could be for intelligence. I don't know. But with me, in terms of how I play, in terms of support, right, I primarily use the ability to call in extra ammo and whatnot, just so I can keep myself topped off. That's what's most important, right? If you're doing the main missions, you learn very early on that if you use any form of weather control and bombardment, it does fuck up with your goddamn rankings. Some people they might not care about, but me, I'm a perfectionist. I enjoy hearing the S-rank dialogue at the end of every mission. It makes me feel accomplished. It makes me feel like a worthy big boss, right? So maybe my big boss, my diamond dogs, might not want to partake in bombardments or weather control, because at the end of the day, like, weather doesn't really influence that much, except for like sandstorm and like the rain. But who really fucking cares about that? And I'm not going to call bombardments down because it's kind of like hit and miss depending on how high you have to level up. So what you could do is maybe you can get rid of the weather and bombardment platforms. And you can just solely level up the supply drops. And here's 2 potential upgrades you can get from that. Obviously, at base, it's like the normal vanilla values. It's influenced by like its current level. Obviously, you get up to level 99 with the amount of people you have. Boom, you have like the vanilla bullshit. That still influences like how long it takes for it to call in. But if you have additional struts fully focusing on supply drops, one potential upgrade I thought of before was it'll basically give you that handy dandy perk that Quiet has, whenever you have her as a buddy, where if you have it up high enough, she drops supplies for you. You know, Fulton Recovery, you know, resupply, suppressor, ammo, all that jazz. You basically get a free upgrade with her. In this case, you just get strictly from Diamond Dogs. You have, like, say, 2 platforms dedicated to supply drops. You'll just find that randomly strewn about whenever you do a mission or when you're out in the open world. Whenever you, like, say, get to a particular area, you'll just get a notification saying, supplies dropped by Diamond Dogs or care package dropped, something like that. And it won't cost you any GMP. It'll just be free. So it'll be a good way, like, you don't have to worry about wasting your GMP or additional resources having to call in a supply drop. But obviously it's balanced out by the fact you obviously have to make your way over to that area wherever the fuck it is. It could be completely randomized. And maybe the more platforms you have, it'll increase the amount of spots there are. So obviously if you have the base level 1, there's nothing you don't get. But if you have all 4 struts be nothing but supply drops, you have a maximum of like 3 potential areas, which could be pretty fucking big. Is it overkill? Yeah, it is. But besides the fact you can pick it all up for, you know, a small increase to your GMP, because if I recall correctly, when Quiet drops it or when Diamond Dogs drops it during a mission in the vanilla game, it'll just basically go back to your account as GMP. So that could be like a very stupid way to get some GMP back. It's really inefficient, but it also gives you extra locations to go to resupply yourself if you ran out of grenades or ran out of claymores to, like, set up some choke points, or if your suppressor's running low, you don't want to, you know, get out of the field. Shit like that. It would actually be kind of fucking cool. And as a bonus upgrade, maybe for getting it all the way to max or level 3, I just came up with this just now, instead of, you know, like the traditional supply drop where they drop it down via a parachute, fuck this shit. Launch it down with a fucking missile. Like, just like maybe like it launches like a very small warhead, it hits the ground. It kind of similar to like the rocket from like Iron Man at the start, when Tony Stark got hit with it and the shrapnel got into his body. Something small like that, and it just pops open and you just see like the item just come out of it. That would be a worthwhile upgrade. Because, like, say instead of it like taking like 20 seconds for the supply drop to get down there, it takes like 10 seconds or 7 seconds. You'll hear like the wishing sound there. Boom! Boom! Supplies are there. It would make supply drops that much more effective, you know? And then we have another interesting one. Actually, I should probably get into R&D real quick. R&D is kind of like a finicky one because it's like it's primarily just used for developing certain things. Like, that's the only thing I could think of in regards to like what platforms you want to develop is maybe you can focus, like, it'll still be like the base ones, but maybe as a buff, maybe you could choose to focus either on weapons or items. And if you decide to focus on items, maybe you'll get like a small discount to how much they cost to deploy in the field with. And in addition to that, they take less time to develop. So if you focus your guy, if you want your guys to focus more on items, it won't take as long to develop those. And if you want them to focus more on weapons, then those will obviously finish up a lot quicker and cost less, but it might take longer for you to focus on items. I don't know. Like, that one's R&D is definitely like the hardest one to figure out, like, how would you want to upgrade that? Like, the only thing I could think of is maybe if you have, like, all struts focusing on weapons, maybe you get, like, an extra star. Like, maybe that's what it'll happen. Like, maybe it'll be, like, specific bonuses for the items. Like, when you deploy them, they'll have, like, a star up, so maybe they're a lot more effective. So, like, maybe camouflage is more effective or guns do more damage. I don't know. It's random fucking ideas, you know. But more personally onto my favorite platform, intelligence. Now this one, in terms of base, if I recall correctly, that one just has, you know, the most valuable skill, you know, the ability to tell you where enemies are and give you like a last known position, like a circular blip on your mini-map, right? Fucking nice. And then you have, you know, useful functions like, ooh, telling you when the weather's coming in. Okay. What else? Oh, the ability to pinpoint plants for you on the map. What the fuck? Stupid shit like that, right? Now, just to get over the more boring concepts, I have thought about it. In regards to, like, maybe weather control, yeah, you can do, like, a meme type upgrade where you want your fucking Intel platform to focus on nothing but weather coverage. Just make them be nothing but weathermen, you know? Something fucking funny like that. And maybe what you could do for that is, like, for a level, like, say level 1 is, like, the base fucking upgrade vanilla bullshit, you know? Obviously, like, the base function is, like, the more it levels up, it'll be able to warn you earlier beforehand when, okay, the weather's gonna, like, start fucking you up, right? Okay, sure. From there, let's think about a level 2 upgrade. My idea for a level 2 upgrade was something along the lines of when a particular weather event happens, so it's a sandstorm or it's raining or it's foggy or whatever, let's just say there'll be like a little icon at, like, say maybe, I'm trying to recall the HUD. We'll say there's like a mini timer, right? Bottom right where like your weapons are, maybe where your items are, like wherever. And when they say, well, let's say like level 1, like rain imminent, or it'll be raining shortly. When you get to level 2, we'll say it is now raining. As an extra blurb, like rain commencing now, whatever. Just some bullshit line. And boom, it'll start raining. And on top of that, for that level 2 upgrade, there'll just be a timer on top of one of your item slots. It'll tell you how long it'll be raining, how long the sandstorm will last, because it's kind of finicky in terms of like how long these particular items last. It'll just give you like an idea about how long this type of situational weather will happen. I could see it being like potentially handy in a way, in my opinion. And then for like a level 3 upgrade, just to go into the meme easier, add in like an extra tab in the iDroid discussing like what the weather is for that day. And fuck it, it'll just give you a laundry list as to like what it's going to be. Is it going to be cloudy? Is there going to be a fog? Is there going to be a sandstorm? Will it be raining? Who knows? But again, it's more of a fucking meme upgrade as like, oh yeah, you're literally having Diamond Dogs be weathermen. And in regards to like plants, I don't even fucking know. Maybe on the map, if you don't mind markers, like obviously, you know, you can have enemies marked, you can see the red triangles. Maybe there'll be like a plant icon as a level 2 upgrade. So you can get like a better visualization as to where the plants are, I guess. I don't know anything else about any other upgrades you can add for that. But again, you can just have like a meme where it's just nothing but plant gathering. Who the fuck knows? But my personal favorite that I would definitely spec into, because if you're up to me, fuck plants, fuck weather. I don't need to be notified when that shit happens. If anything, I prefer it to be a surprise. The real kicker would maybe be intel on enemy positions. Level 1, same vanilla bullshit. Just one platform dedicated to that. Boom, whatever. You have the basic, like, last known enemy positions and all that jazz. And we'll say with, like, maybe a level 2 upgrade, right? It'll be reduced to a pinpoint location. Kind of similar to, like, how you'd be able to find them whenever you, you know, have them marked on the map whenever you, like, mark them with your binoculars and shit. But instead, it's pinpoint to the point where, yes, that's where the fucker is. It's still last known position, but, like, it'll update every couple seconds, basically, still. And maybe it'll be a representation of, like, a normal triangle where it's, like, lightly red, similar to, like, how D-Dog does it, right? Where it's, like, a light red triangle on top, and when you mark them, boom, it's full red, something like that. And it'll just give you, like, a general idea as to, like, where the enemy is looking. And then maybe a level 3 upgrade is full real-time positioning, where in real time you'll see them move from their current position and start going in that general area in real time. So you can more easily figure out where the fucking enemy is. And finally, as a level 4 upgrade, I'm coming up with this shit as I go on. Boom. You have a cone of vision that in real time, like based on your camouflage, the time of day, all that shit, will show you how fucking, like how big the cone is so you know how far you gotta be out of. And I guess as a bonus kick in terms of like a max level 4 upgrade, have that mini-map actually be a Soliton radar. Just like in the glory days. Make it like a very expensive level 4 upgrade. That would be an idea, right? Like every time you develop like a new platform, like say you decide to, like say like let the level 1 upgrade just be 500,000. Right? Like you want to get rid of like say like the bare bones level 1 base development and you want to make it a refinement process, right? That's just 500,000, cool. And let's say you want there to be 2 or 3 of them. Let the price go up. Let it be 1 million and 2 million or 3 million GMP. A massive amount. But you gotta make sure, like, okay, if you're gonna dedicate to nothing but, say, Intel platforms, it's gonna cost this much. Because you're obviously investing in, like, a more powerful fucking skill. That'd be fucking awesome. That'd be a way to fucking balance it. But obviously, Intel's the fucking B's and E's. Imagine as a level 4 upgrade, you basically have your original Soliton radar on, say, the top right. And it gives you the real-time fucking position of the enemies. That'd be worth it alone for having a fucking full-stack Intel-based Intel group. That would actually be fucking cool. I actually like that idea. I'm actually surprised I came up with that. And then finally, like the medical platform, it's like, what? There's either aerial aid and like how quickly it takes for your diamond dogs to like, recover. Add in like an extra function, right? Because I talked about before in my previous ramble, I think, about in regards to like let the medical platform like, influence plants. Do the exact same thing. Like say if you have more and more platforms just dedicated solely to just like manufacturing plants, boom, you produce them in less time and you produce more quantities of them. To the point where maybe you'll start having like 40 or 50 of the basic plants, 25 to 30 of the uncommon plants, and like for Homa and the yellow plants, like 10 or 20 every like 10 minutes. It'll be a great source of money, but also allow you to use your more non-lethal and grenade-esque items. And back to like support or intelligence, I don't know which one influenced like the Fulton recovery chance. Let it be fully customizable. Let's just say fuck it. You don't want a Fulton recovery number, or you want like the lowest odds possible. You could just say fuck it, reduce that shit down enough, and like, hell, I'd say even go as far as like remove the feature altogether. But I mean, that's more like a helicopter upgrade, so you don't really have to worry about that. But I mean, I guess maybe remove like aerial aid. So let's just say if you want to try Fulton somebody out and they're wounded, they'll be like, no, can't do, boss. And whenever you fucking Fulton recover them, the more than likely they're going to fucking die because you won't be able to fucking protect them. So something like that, get rid of fucking aerial aid if you don't want to worry about that and just focus more on having them recover quicker whenever they get back from a mission if they're wounded, or have a lower chance of them getting wounded while they're doing combat deployment. Some shit like that. But yeah, like, overall, like, obviously, some of those upgrades are obviously more beneficial than others. Like, again, if you're not developing nukes, and you're done developing all the platforms, now it's just nothing more than, okay, you spend some GMP to, like, maybe replace the fucking items on that strut, and you have it do a more specific function. Obviously, the end game would be what? Focus solely on combat deployments, focus solely on a combination of like maybe like resource procurement and refinement, solely intelligence, solely supply drops, maybe, unless you want to like literally bombard the entire area. Maybe there could be some interesting upgrades in regards to that, and like maybe weather control, like maybe making it last longer and cost less and bullshit like that in regards to like bombardment. Just blanket an entire fucking area. Like hellfire, basically. And in terms of medical, obviously, that's just like plants. Nothing but plants. Especially if you're not, like, say, if you're not doing combat deployments and it's just merc deployments, they're obviously not going to be wounded. So why the fuck would I want to, make sure that my fuckers don't get wounded at all? Get rid of it. But then again, you could, like, have more passive boosts to Snake, maybe. Maybe you could focus more on producing better drugs and, better healing items for Snake. Or, like, better overall health. You have better, like, trainers and physicians and whatnot, so maybe you have, like, a boost to health or stamina or movement speed, shit like that. You could do, like, different upgrades in regards to shit like that, maybe. But yeah, this was just like a random idea that I had, once again, that just made me think more about, like, the customization aspect. Because besides like a gameplay function, it should also be like a representation of, like, what that platform is doing. Like, say for base development, you want it to do nothing but develop nukes. Guess what? You're literally gonna have 4 fucking platforms with nothing but, oh hey, yeah, by the way, there's like a shit ton of fucking radioactive barrels, casings for the nuke itself, and people in, like, hazmat suits. Badass as fuck. In regards of, like, intel gathering, you'll just see, like, maybe like a bunch of people, like, with, like, comm helmets on, adjusting, like, like radio dishes and shit and stuff like that. In case of, say, maybe like merc deployment, you'll just have some fuckers, lounging about, keeping shit secure, like maybe on a blackboard planning, like, their next fucking function. In regards of support, just nothing but diamond dogs, like, up against a green screen, obviously giving, like, the motions of, hey, at 5 o'clock today there might be a little bit of light rain, make sure you get that fucking umbrella ready. Just some stupid funny shit like that obviously would fit the tone of Metal Gear so fucking well, but would still have that Kojima level of detail in regards of it being both a gameplay function update and a cosmetic update as well. It would be fucking beautiful. And, I was just thinking to myself, I guess what started all off, like, in regards to, like, the modding scene, could they do something like that? No. Probably not. Absolutely not. Like, in terms of, like, extra menus and functions and all that stuff, it's like, it would be an impossibility. It's moments like these I really wish I could either go back in time and, like, suggest the idea of that. And, like, the medical platform doing plants over time and all that shit. Or just, pay somebody at Konami a very large sum to just leak the source code of the Fox engine and, like, the game dev kits for Metal Gear Solid 5, just so modders could breathe so much life into the fucking game. I would love that shit. But alas, once again, it's a gaming what if, sadly, and there's not really a whole lot you could do about it except dream of what some games could potentially be like in, like, a different universe or a different time. But alas, that would be, in my opinion at least, it would sound like a pretty good idea in terms of, like, adding in more customization to Diamond Dogs. Because it's like, besides that, like, what customization do you really have? Like, oh, you can customize an emblem. Oh, you can change the color of your mother base. Oh, you could place FOBs in different waters to generate different sources of resources. Depending on how you do that, like, the setup overall is different, which could influence your security in a way for Diamond Dogs, question mark. But I feel like in regards, like, besides FOBs, like, in terms of, like, base mother base, that could work. And, maybe something like that could have been on the table. Who knows? But in regards to, like, mapping the cutscenes and whatnot around that, I think that's where it could be the hardest part. Because it's like, Well, no, not necessarily. I guess you could say maybe forego the cosmetic option, and you could still have the cutscenes do the shit normally, but just let the struts just be like an actual like passive upgrade, where by default, yeah, sure, once you have all the struts unlocked, boom, that's like what they. I have an idea. In terms like an in-game type of thing, right? Let it be an ability slash reward when you get all like by default, like just say level one, like the default strut, boom, whatever. You have that function unlocked in terms of story progression. So it's like obviously by the time you get to like episode 9 or 10, you'll have the majority of the struts unlocked minus security. But you'll have like the basic shit going. Healing your soldiers, aerial aid, last known enemy locations, supply drops, bombardments, all that shit. Normal. And every time you unlock more struts, the normal vanilla shit happens. You unlock more room for soldiers, so you can level up the base functions more. Maybe as a reward for fully developing like that strand, the 4 platforms for that particular unit, then you unlock the ability to have them do different shit and focus on a particular task where you can specialize in a particular like task for that unit and strengthen it while potentially losing other functions along the way. That right there would be a way to make Diamond Dogs a little bit more customizable in terms of gameplay that could actually benefit you. Fucking hell. Add that into like a Metal Gear Solid 5 remaster. Or make that a mod. Please, somebody. Somehow work your magic fingers and make that a mod. Because that would be beautiful.